When you quit drinking, you can have lots of thoughts about alcohol, especially in the first month or two. For me, I was thinking about drinking regularly, probably 30 to 50 times a day in those early days. Everything from have a drink, it's going to ease your stress, to how are you going to have fun if you don't have alcohol. And it's really important to recognize those thoughts for what they are. They're just thoughts. We have thoughts about 100,000 or so things every single day. So recognizing a thought for being a thought is really, really important, and not allowing yourself to latch onto it and run away with the thought and start acting upon it. And I wanted to share with you a tactic that I used myself that I found really, really helped me when I was getting lots of thoughts about drinking coming into my mind. It's still important to do the work that's going to get you to a place where you feel completely free, working on changing your mindset by reading sober books, by engaging with things like the alcoholexperiment.com. Obviously, check out my own book, The Sober Survival Guide, which is full of tactics and tools that you can use on your own journey to freedom. But for today, I just wanted to share this one tactic with you. So I was finding I was having lots and lots of thoughts coming into my head about drinking. I started to recognize them as thoughts. They're nothing more, they're nothing less. They're just thoughts coming into my head. And I realized I didn't need to act on them, but they still felt uncomfortable. It was an uncomfortable feeling because I felt like I was being pulled towards drinking because of these thoughts. They were telling me to drink, they wanted me to drink. So, what I started to do was every single time a thought came into my head, it was like a alarm bell would go off. I knew it was a thought and I recognized it. So give yourself an alarm bell. The thought comes into your head, you say to yourself, that's a thought about drinking. You've become aware of it, you're conscious of it, you recognize it. Instead of just going along like a zombie and saying, oh, there's a thought, I'll just go and get a bottle of wine and start drinking it. You stop, you recognize it as a thought. Then the next thing to do is get that thought in your mind, hold it there, and as the thought comes in, what you need to do is sit with it, sit with the thought, and then breathe it out. So take a really long, intentional inhale through your nose, and then you've got the thought, you exhale it right back out again through your nose. And as you exhale it out, you soften your shoulders and intentionally let your shoulders drop down. And as you do that, you can feel the thought leaving you. And it's a really clever way of actually intentionally exiting the thought from your mind, because you've become conscious of it, aware of it, you've paused, and then you've let it go. You've let the thought go. And I used to find myself doing this exact same exercise, sometimes 20 times a day if I was getting lots of thoughts coming in. But every time I was able to stop, exhale through my nose, soften my shoulders, the thought would then pass, and it might be half an hour or so, and perhaps another one would come along, a bit like trains into a busy station. But over time, less and less thoughts, they got less and less frequent, to a point where in the end I just wasn't thinking about drinking any longer. And it's so rare that I have a thought about drinking now. So just to recap on how to do this: thought comes into your head about drinking, pause, recognize it for what it is, intentional inhale, get the thought in your mind, and now you're going to exhale it out, soften your shoulders, and that thought's just come right out and gone. It sounds a little bit ridiculous, but until you try it, you don't know. It probably will work for you, because it worked really, really well for me, which is why I wanted to share it today. So let me know what you think. I'd love to hear if you tried this technique and if you were able to start taking a bit of control over your thoughts, and whether you were able to consciously get them out of your mind. Let me know what you think, and I really hope that helps you on your journey to freedom.